Sky Squad, we are back with another video. Y'all, my voice is cracking and everything. Listen, we gotta talk. We gotta talk, baby, because Mia is clearing the air, y'all. She is getting some things off her chest because we were left in a state of confusion after this past week's episode. So Mia is happily cleaning things up, and we didn't even have to get an interview to do it. So let's take a look at what she had to say, and we're going to be discussing whether or not Real Housewives is actually real or is it scripted. We got Cynthia Bailey commenting on that, so we're going to talk about that in just 1 second. Before we dive in, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Click that like button. Make sure you tap it, smack it, flip it, rub it down, all of that good tea. And then also get your hands on my newest book, The Wickedest Wives of Vicious Reality. I just got the cover for book 3. I'm super excited. I love it. 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 Definitely leave us a review if you haven't already done so. Let people know how you felt about it, what you like, who you didn't like, who you think is going to make it to the end, because not everybody making it, baby. Now, let's get into Mia. Mama Mia has some things to say, and let's dissect them, okay? Shout out to our friends over at Bravo Snarkside, because this is where I first happened to see this. So let's get into it. Mia says, things I wish I had control to show the world. Likely meaning on this show, right? Number 1, being a good mother is top priority. I know who my children's father is, and I never question this. They have the same last name as their father, Thornton. So I think that the reason why people have so much to say about this is because of the topic of a paternity test being brought up on the show. So I think that had the paternity test not popped up, I mean, granted, it was brought up initially by Gordon, but still, I think it was further perpetuated by the topic of a paternity test. So I think that's what people are reacting to, more so than whether or not she's a good mother. I think that it's kind of like, you know, let's people are kind of feeling like, why are we making this into a story because of the sensitive nature of it? I think that's what it is that people are reacting to. Number 2, I sold my company. Such a blessing, and I'm truly proud of this aspect of my life. Through adversity, I ended up on top, thank God. So this, I think, could be definitely cleared up a bit better because the show doesn't give us that bit of information. We knew that they had a franchise called The Joint Chiropractic, and so we also learned that then Gordon was allegedly ousted. Let me put the alleged badge up here. And I'm going based on the story, okay? I'm going based on the story that we've been provided on television. So for us, we're kind of like, okay, well, what happened with that? Like, did you guys ever get it back? Did you sell your portion of it? Is that, I mean, I think we still need a bit more clarity on that, at least from the perspective of a reality TV show and telling a complete story. 3, I've reinvested into other concepts and look forward to continued development in and around the DMV. I mean, that's great to know. You know, I don't think that that's something that we've necessarily had as much of a question about. But number 4, it comes in and she says, Jacqueline and I are working together on a major essay campaign to raise awareness and money for a local organization to directly support survivors. Which I think is also great. 5, my children are homeschooled private Christian online with private tutors. I don't know that we had many questions about that, but I think that that's not bad to know, and I think that's great. Number 6, we have a private chef that comes to the house to prepare meals and or personally delivers, which is why I don't cook. Honestly, I'm about to go this route as well because I am so I think if you are the older you get, if you were in a long-term relationship or if you live with somebody, dinner is always the like, oh Lord, what, like that is the question every day. So I'm about to do this myself. I mean, it is what it is. Okay. 7, I'm enrolled at majoring in psychology and a minor in business law. I think that's actually pretty dope. And I do think that they should hire, they not hire, but I think they should highlight that aspect. And then lastly, this is the part that I felt like I was most interested in outside of the first two is since we're on the topic, Inc. what has not and would never have relations with any of my friends. So I think that this came into question because when we saw her on the Carlos King podcast, when asked that question, she said she couldn't remember. So I think that that's part of the reason why people would have questions about it. Then she says, if he was reaching out, he was trying to get to me, period. Okay. Um, I think this may be a response to our question about why Jacqueline said that he was asking her to dinner after Mia became unavailable. And it's still to me, I don't I just don't I still don't get it why the statement was made. Maybe there was a larger context for which we didn't get all of those answers. But it just didn't make any sense to me because when she said it, the implication was that he was trying to hang out with her. So it wasn't that unless it was cut off during the confessional that oh he was trying to get to Mia, but it was played like oh I don't want those problems and he was asking me out to dinner. Then finally she says, and no, I don't have relations with anyone other than my man. I'm just not that girl anymore. Okay? There is that anymore. All right. Yes. There we have it. Um and there are the answers to the burning questions, guys. If there are more, definitely put them in the chatterization and maybe we'll get some more answers. Okay? Now, with that being said, let's also discuss Cynthia Bailey. All right. We know that Cynthia Bailey is making her return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 16, which is likely set to air. I would imagine we would see that in February/March because I'm thinking that we'll need time for Potomac to end and segue right into having Atlanta on, and then Potomac will be filming while Atlanta is on, so that we don't have this huge break in our Sundays for much longer. They do need another show featuring another prominently African American cast for the time period when Married to Medicine does go off. But you know, I can't listen. I would love to just lay out a programming plan for the network, but I don't understand why they haven't hired me as a consultant yet. Okay, we'll speak that into existence. Bravo, if you're listening, hire me as a consultant for your programming, and I will definitely ensure that these ratings and the viewership is popping. Okay. Also, I would make sure that every cast, Married to Medicine included, especially a show like Married to Medicine that actually technically does better in the ratings than a Real Housewife of New York. No shade to them, but if you're going to be dedicating resources and doing photo shoots for a cast that actually works, you're going to need to be giving those resources to a show like Married to Medicine. But I'm still digressing because I'm still mad. Meanwhile, okay, so Cynthia Bailey has a podcast with Crystal Kung Minkoff. Okay, so I'm excited about this because I believe that Crystal is more vocal on this podcast than she was on the show. But when you hear her discuss her personality, it makes sense why she came across, I think, for some people as boring on the show. I don't think she's boring. I think she's just a nice person. And she goes on to explain a little bit of that. And she talks about what it feels like as a real housewife. And then we'll get to what Cynthia has to say. But I want you guys to listen to this part of it first. And I won't play much because obviously this belongs to their podcast. But I can just give you a clip and then talk about it as per the guidelines.
Well, we are natural animals in a zoo.
Right.
And
That sounds
Okay, so she says that with regards to whether or not reality TV, specifically Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, are scripted or not, she says, listen, we're basically being put into unnatural situations, right? You know, Cynthia says, well, would I normally just be going out to have cookies and ice cream with Sheree at 3 p.m.? No. You know, and Crystal is like, would I naturally be filming with, you know, these 6 to 8 girls every day and then not talking to them for 6 months? No. Okay. And she goes on to state that, you know, a lot of times, you know, producers were like, well, you know, just be yourself, but speak up. Okay. And so she says that she got the label as being manipulative because she was doing what she would do in real life. She's polite in real life. So certain things she just wouldn't say in that moment in real life. And in real life, most people are polite in person and then they'll talk a little crap when they get, you know, when they're not around the people. That's just real life. Okay. But with reality TV, you have to work a bit differently than how you would work in real life. And Cynthia basically says the same thing. She basically says, listen, we are living our truth, but we're basically being set in situations that may at times feel unnatural. Like in this group setting, would I normally be there? Probably not. So I have to be my natural self in the group setting, but I also have to make my voice heard. Cynthia says, listen, we're in a group with a lot of either, I think she either said catty or chatty Cathys or something like that. And she goes on to state that, listen, you know what I've learned is I go into the scene because everybody wants to get their voice heard. And she's like, I've learned that when I first go into a scene, I'm going to get things jumped off and I'm going to make my voice heard because I will be speaking in this episode. Because guess what? As a friend, if you're not speaking, what is your purpose? Okay. What is your purpose? Where is your scooter? You know what I'm saying? So I feel what Cynthia's saying, and I can attest that at least. Sorry about that. I can attest that at least for me, I do feel like what we're seeing. I don't know. It's debatable because I do feel like some people do put on for the cameras. I can name a couple. But I do feel like certain people, like I love her to death. Tamara Judge, I feel like she puts on. I feel like she does the most for the TV. Um, and there's certain other people I feel like do the most for the TV. Bryn from Real Housewives of New York doing the most for the TV. Um, Angie K, I feel like she does the most for the TV, but at least with Salt Lake City, I feel like it's with a wink and a nod. I feel like with Tamara, it's kind of like we so used to seeing what she's been doing. It's kind of like, and I don't want to disrespect the lady because I do like Tamara. I like Tamara a lot, but I do feel like she can be a bit mean spirited in some of her antics. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Are you listening to Cynthia and Crystal's podcast? I want to check it out actually. And shout out to the Jasmine brand for sharing that post and collaborating on that post with Cynthia to get the word out. So I'm happy and excited to see what Cynthia is cooking up. I'm interested in Cynthia for some reason, a lot more so now than I think that I was before. I think a lot of her story had been very much told on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I do think that her coming in as a friend is useful, especially in a situation where there's so many new cast members. You still need people there that know how to make the ship run, right? So I'm interested. I'm interested. And I think that's probably the problem with the Real Housewives of New York is that there was nobody there that really knows how to make the engine run. That's it. That is it. Because I don't know what these girls are doing, but they're cute and all. But you know what it is, Real Housewives of New York? You don't have all the flavors that you need to make a show great. All these women seem really regular. And that's not bad for them. It's just not good for the show. I need some people that are a little bit delusional. Okay. I need some people that are really outspoken. I need some people that are either these are you can if and either or. Really, 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 really rich and don't mind showing us their riches. really booked and busy and always having fabulous over-the-top events, and they got their own restaurants and things for which to do so. I need somebody that's just flat out messy, and that's who they naturally are. They're not trying to be, they're not cosplaying a messy person. And I need somebody who is like a couple of people who are just quirky AF. Okay. I need a Mary. I need a Kim Richards. You know, we don't have that quirk factor on that show. We just don't. So that's why it's not working for me. Anyway, I'll still keep trying it out and see what happens, but that's just my thoughts. Anyway, I have gone much past what I said I was going to go for this video, and I don't know why I'm talking about this show because it was not what I was slated to talk about. But here we are. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Did Mia clear up everything for you? Did Cynthia and Crystal clear up everything for you about whether or not these shows are scripted or fake? Let us know in the comment section down below, and I will, of course, catch you in the next video.